What's up, everybody? I'm Sara.
I'm Shauna.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Bobby, and this is Speaking of Missing Persons. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Speaking of Missing Persons, and welcome to the new listeners. Before we get started on today's episode, a little bit of business. We have another show. You should definitely go check it out. Speaking of murders, if you like this, you'll probably like that. We also have a Patreon where we're putting out bonus episodes every other Saturday. You can find that linked in the show description. Go there, check that out. Don't miss out on those bonus episodes. Also, don't forget to follow the show so you don't miss out on any of our regular episodes. And leave us 5 stars, leave a comment, leave a review. You know, it really helps us out, get out to more people, and we really appreciate it. If you want to see photos associated with today's episode, check our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. That's all linked in the show and episode description. And if you have a case that you want to hear on the show, send that to our email, speakingofmissingpersons@gmail.com. So all that stuff said, Sara is going to be telling our missing persons case today. Who are we talking about today?
A guy named Lars Mittank.
Is this a older story? Because Lars isn't a very common name anymore.
It's not that old.
I don't know. I feel like Lars is it just has 80s written all over it.
Well, he was born in the 80s.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
But he went missing in 2014.
Okay, I don't know. I hear Lars and I think of what's that?
Metallica?
No, honestly, no. It's not Metallica. I think of the Nakatomi Tower. What's his name? Bruce Willis plays in the movie. It's a big movie. It's argued whether or not it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, Die Hard?
Die Hard, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I think of Die Hard, like the evil German villain guy.
Isn't there a Lars?
Oh, his name was Hans, though.
In the Backstreet
No.
Boys? Okay.
I got it wrong.
Is it in sync?
There's not a
No.
Lars. No, it's Lance.
It's Lance. Close enough.
All right. Well, anyways, let me hear about
It's
Lars.
called a Lance. Hello.
Oh, my goodness. So this does take, it starts out in Germany. So you're not far off.
See? I'm not crazy.
We're going across the pond
All right.
today. Okay, Lars was born February 9th, 1986 in Berlin, Germany. By the age of 28, he was described as a normal guy that had a girlfriend, a job at a power plant, and lots of friends. On June 30th, 2014, Lars and 5 of his friends went on holiday to Golden Sands Resort in Varna, Bulgaria.
Okay.
They relaxed on the beach, swam in the pool, play football, which we know as soccer, and went out to local clubs. Just normal things you're doing on a vacation. His friends described him as relaxed and in a good mood. One of his friends did say that he noticed Lars was not eating a lot on the trip, either choosing to have a small bowl of soup or a small salad. The group was supposed to leave and head back to Germany on July 6th, 2014. So it was a week-long vacation. So they decided the night before, which would have been... So I'm wrong. They were going to leave on the 7th. So on the 6th, yes. On the 6th, they decided to go to a bar in town and hang out.
All right.
And just enjoy their last night in Bulgaria. While there's a soccer game on TV. It was Lars's favorite team playing against another team, which apparently the locals in the bar were rooting for, this other
Okay.
team. This caused an argument between Lars and a few of these local men at this bar.
Yeah, I bet.
But
They take soccer pretty seriously.
Yes.
Sorry, football pretty seriously
Yes.
over there in Europe.
But from all accounts, this was just a verbal argument. It did not get physical.
Okay.
Good.
After the bar, so some reports say that after the bar, Lars got separated with his friends while they're all standing outside of the bar. Now, other reports say that they went to a McDonald's nearby, and when everybody was going into the McDonald's, Lars said, I don't want anything, I'll just wait out here. And then when they came out of the McDonald's, he was gone. Either way, at some point, he got separated from his friends.
Okay, either on the way there or while
Right.
there.
Now, if you believe the McDonald's story, his friends said when they came out of the McDonald's, they thought, well, maybe he just went back to the resort because he didn't want any food, whatever. But when they got to the resort, he wasn't there waiting for them. Now, he shows back up at the hotel in the early morning hours
Okay.
of the 7th.
His friends see him there?
Yeah,
or
they
it's
talk
just
to
like,
him.
okay.
He comes back to the resort in like the early morning hours of July 7th. His friends are like, obviously, where the hell have you been, man? You just disappeared. What the hell is going on?
Understandable.
He tells them that he was jumped by 4 men that were hired by the men from the bar. Okay?
Okay.
Now, that's what the majority of his friends say that he said. Now, there's one of his friends that heard him say, I was jumped by a man that was hired by the 4 men at the bar.
Okay. I feel like that would maybe make more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But most stories, if you look into this case, are going to say that he was jumped possibly by 4 men, not just 1 man. So, for whatever reason, his friends didn't really question him any further about his whereabouts. They were more worried, like, are you okay? Like, if you got jumped, you should go see a doctor. Like,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Like if he got jumped, where did he stay all night long?
Don't know. But they did say he looked disheveled and, like, not put together, if that's the right word. Disheveled. Like, he...
Honestly, if he got jumped, there is a decent chance that he was either knocked unconscious or at least, knocked around enough that he might have just laid wherever he was for some extended period of time.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay. He agreed to go see a doctor. The doctor that saw him said his jaw was injured and he possibly had a concussion, but that he definitely had a perforated eardrum.
Ouch.
Yikes.
This doctor prescribed him antibiotics. Some things said that this doctor told him he needed surgery to fix that eardrum repair or eardrum rupture. Others just say he was like, here's some antibiotics, whatever. He suggested that Lars not fly home that day because the pressure from the plane would cause intense pain and possible further damage to his eardrum.
Okay.
All right.
His friends wanted to cancel their flight as well and stay with Lars until he could fly.
Yeah, I mean, that would
Yeah.
make sense.
Right.
Yep.
But Lars insisted he would be fine there by himself. Just go ahead and go home. Don't waste your tickets, whatever. So they all checked out of the resort at the same time. His friends went to the airport and flew back to Germany, and Lars stayed at a hotel closer to the airport that was cheaper.
Okay.
Now, once his friends were gone, Lars started to act strange. He became increasingly more paranoid throughout the day on the 7th. At midnight, He called his mom, Sandra, and asked her to cancel his credit cards. And in a whispered tone, he told her that people were trying to rob and kill him.
Okay.
During the cell phone call with his mom, Lars can be seen on security camera footage in the hotel, walking up and pacing back and forth up and down the hallway. He is looking out the windows, and then for a pretty extended period of time, he hides in the elevator.
That's
Weird.
really odd.
He leaves the hotel at 1 a.m. He's seen on footage leaving the hotel, and he returns at 2 a.m. But no one knows where he went during this hour or what he did. Some reports said that he called his mom again at 3 a.m. and told her that the people chasing him were getting closer. And she just, was trying to calm him down and was like, you'll be okay. Just go get some sleep, whatever. Go to the airport in the morning, see if you can fly, blah, blah, blah.
I'd be like, call the police.
Yeah.
What people are you talking about?
Yeah, well. The day after his friends left, Lars wanted to fly back home. He texted his mom at 6 a.m. to tell her he was at the airport. She suggested he see the doctor there to make sure he could fly with his ear, because the airport has its own doctor.
Oh, that actually does make a lot of sense.
Well, if I'm being chased by someone and it's being chased and killed for money or whatever, and possibly losing hearing in one ear, I'm going to take possibly losing hearing in one ear.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. It's wise to at least get it checked and make sure that...
Oh, we're going to talk about eardrums in a minute, because this whole time I was researching this, I'm like, I've never been this, wait a minute before, to where I went on this whole deep dive about ears, because I was like, this makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
So we're going to get to it. But right now, he's seen on security footage going into the airport. He heads straight towards this doctor's office that's inside the airport. The doctor there that day, his name was Dr. Kostova.
Okay.
I hope I said that right. This doctor would later say that Lars was acting nervous and erratic. After checking Lars's ear, the doctor told him he was okay to fly home. To me, at this point, I was like, wait a fucking second. What did a day do?
Right.
Not even a full, complete day. But anyway, Lars was expressing some concern about the antibiotics he had been given when a construction worker walked into the doctor's office, because the airport at the time was doing construction, and this construction worker had come in to ask the doctor a question because they were getting ready to start on the doctor's office. Okay, so all he did was open the door to ask this doctor a question. Dr. Kostova, if I'm saying that right, Kostova, said Lars began to tremble when he saw this construction worker, yelled, freaking out, and says, I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here. He's yelling this at this doctor. He then fled from the office, leaving behind his luggage, including his cell phone, wallet, and passport. He leaves it all just sitting in the doctor's office. Now, Lars is known as the most famous missing person on YouTube, because this video footage of him at the airport has been watched as of 2018, so I'm sure it's way more now, but as of 2018 it had been watched 16 million times.
Holy shit.
And there's no audio, it's just a video. So he's caught on camera running from the terminal by the doctor's office. Once outside, he is seen jogging away from the airport, climbing a fence, which a lot of people say was a barbed wire fence, running into a meadow, and then he runs out of sight of the camera in the direction of a forest that is near the Bulgarian National Highway A2. this is literally the last time anyone has ever seen Lars, that it can be confirmed.
Are we sure he wasn't on drugs?
Here's the thing. We're going to talk about some things.
Because, like, even if it was steroids, did they give him steroids at the doctor?
No. He literally was only given antibiotics.
Okay.
And
so we just watched the video ourselves, and yeah, that's bonkers. Like, he just walked into the dock like it was nothing, and then dude booked it like he's practicing for, cross country.
Yeah. Just takes off.
Takes off, cross the lobby, out the door, down the road, and
over
out
a
of sight.
fucking tall fence.
I mean, the dude's gone.
Probably, what, a 6-foot fence?
Yeah, and the thing that I found, I thought, well, maybe it was someone else running, but no. Whenever you see him going into the dock and out of the dock, he's wearing a yellow shirt, and right at the end of the video, when he, disappears, you can still see his yellow shirt.
yeah.
It's definitely him.
Weird.
At first, his mom, Sandra, and some doctors in Germany and Bulgaria believed his odd behavior leading up to his disappearance was this super rare side effect from this antibiotic, which is a cephalosporin, which is super common antibiotic.
Okay.
They prescribe this for all kinds of things.
I've never heard of it.
Well, because
I'm not a doctor, so that's
It's a-
probably why.
it's a pretty common antibiotic. Now, in very rare cases, and I mean rare, like less than 1% of people, this antibiotic has been known to induce psychotic side effects such as hallucinations and paranoia.
Okay.
Now, this would make perfect sense, right?
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
definitely...
Except before you get too invested in this, Dr. Kostov, can't even say it.
Kostova?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby. There you go. He said that Lars had never even filled the prescription.
Oh, so he wasn't actually taking it
He
yet.
had never taken a single pill of it. He didn't fill the prescription.
Well, then it's irrelevant to his
Weird.
behavior.
Exactly.
Because he was definitely acting suspicious even when he walked into the airport. He kept looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I
Like
didn't
someone
notice
was following him.
Yeah. He
didn't notice
seemed
that at all.
paranoid as he was walking in.
All right, so this is where I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent because I was pretty curious about this whole thing. Because in my mind, I kept asking, what is one day with an perforated eardrum? Okay, that makes no sense to me. How could he not fly on the 7th, but be okay to fly on the 8th? So then I'm like, how long does it take for an eardrum to heal? What reasons would you give antibiotics for a perforated ear? So here we go. This is what I found out. So sometimes you will be given antibiotics. It's not a lot, but sometimes they will give you antibiotics for a perforated eardrum, but usually it's only if the injury that you sustained has now led to an infection. So that would not have happened in that short amount
In an
of time.
overnight.
Time period. Okay?
I mean,
So if he got this perforated eardrum in the middle of the night on the 7th and went to the doctor like later that afternoon,
They would not have prescribed antibiotics.
should not have prescribed antibiotics.
But if it happened
I don't know.
prior to that,
And it was infected. Now, what else I figured out is they very, very, very rarely do surgery on a perforated ear. Super rare. Because, one, it heals on its own most of the time just fine in a couple of weeks with no intervention from a doctor. They usually don't give you any kind of medicine unless it's infected.
Right.
wouldn't they give you some kind of like pain medicine?
Usually not. They usually give you nothing. It heals all by itself.
I would imagine that would be a painful injury, though.
And sometimes they're going to give you like, not sometimes, most of the time, if you need an antibiotic, you're not just going to get an oral antibiotic, you're also going to get an eardrop.
I know this for a fact. I know that for a fact. The infection thing, though, I don't know. I mean, I have a kid that gets ear infections quite frequently, and he'll be fine, and then within 4 hours, it's literally pouring out of his ear. So I feel like...
Shauna, he hasn't really been fine, though. Like, it's been...
Yeah, no. But I'm just saying, like, I do feel like an infection can happen overnight, especially in the ears, because once they happen, they typically, like, they quickly...
Okay, even if that's a thing. Even if that's a thing.
Perforated eardrums
is a hole.
Yes, and it can cause auditory hallucinations because it causes sensory deprivation.
And vertigo.
And dependent on the level of deafness you have in your ear will determine the severity of your potential auditory hallucinations.
And it also can cause vertigo, which is causing you to be dizzy, which can also mess with your mind.
Right.
All of those things I looked up, but it's fine. Because my biggest one is the whole...
Can you fly with it?
Can you fly with it? So... Here's the thing.
Say, technically, you probably can.
You 100% can, Bobby. It's actually completely safe, and they say that it could make you actually feel better.
Like give you some relief.
Give you relief.
You wouldn't experience the pressure changes in the airplane.
Exactly, because you have a hole that the air gets to move through freely. So they would actually encourage you to fly, not prevent you from flying.
That's telling me that he didn't have what this doctor said he had.
I think he did,
the doctor didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, or the doctor didn't know what the fuck he
and
was
had
talking
never
about.
seen a perforated eardrum before and was just like, here's some things, don't do this thing.
I mean,
I don't know.
But this
can I ask a question
this
here?
made me go down an even bigger rabbit hole, because then I was like, can you get a perforated eardrum from flying?
Probably.
Yes, you can. If the pressure is too high and you can't pop your own ears.
That's why you bring Tootsie Rolls on the plane.
Or gum or something like that.
Tootsie Rolls.
Babies can't do that.
So then I was thinking in my head, could he have gotten this perforated eardrum when they got there?
And just been feeling weird.
Been feeling weird the whole time, which would explain why he wasn't eating very much at a time. And what he was eating was things that would not upset your stomach, soup and salad.
It would also explain why he would have an infection by the time he would go to the doctor at the end of the trip.
Exactly.
You know what?
It would explain, like, if he literally was out that night trying to get back to the resort and fell and tripped, in his mind, think that he got beat up.
True.
I don't know. Interesting.
That's the rabbit hole I went down. Because I just couldn't understand why one doctor would be like, oh, yeah, sure.
And another one is like, yeah, don't do that.
No.
I mean, that happens all the time, though.
I know it does.
Would getting ear tubes then be the act of perforating one's ear?
Technically. Because you're helping it drain.
Okay.
Because when you have an infection, it usually, like you said, once it's bad enough, it starts running out your ear because it has nowhere else to go.
But
that can take a long time.
It can, but I will say, in my son's case, it's kind of different. And that's probably why he can be fine and then 4 hours later be screaming in pain from an ear infection. He has a completely different, like, there's a reason that he gets that way.
He's got a medical condition.
Yeah.
I mean, I see ear infections every day with dogs. Every day. There's probably at least 2 ear infections a day with dogs. And it's all the same. The owner doesn't notice it until it's oozing out.
Or smelly, yeah.
Or they're smelling the yeast, but then they're like, it just happened this morning.
You are killing Bobby right now.
Continue with the story about this fella instead of ear infections. It's starting to gross me out a little bit. I'm fine. I just don't want to hear about goop oozing out of ears.
We both said it today, actually.
That's like the funnest part about my job. Anyway, when his mom was asked, like, is there any mental illness in the family? She was like, absolutely not. Like, no one in our family has a history of mental illness, and he has never shown any signs of mental illness. In an interview she gave with a German news station, she said she believed that he was actually in danger because the way he was talking and how, like, freaked out he was, she described it as, like, she could almost hear his heartbeat over the phone. Like, that's how freaked out he was.
That's how panicked he was?
Yes.
That's intense.
Yeah.
A big thing in this case, though, is that no one really knows if Lars was attacked in those early hours of July 7th or not. Because his friends didn't really question him much more. They were too worried about getting him to a hospital. His mom was so worried about how he was acting afterwards that she never questioned him about it. So it's like one of those things that nobody knows if it happened or didn't happen.
Right.
Just like all missing persons cases, this one has theories. One is that he died from the elements because at the time in Bulgaria, the weather was like in the hundreds.
Ugh.
And if he went running off into the woods, not in his right mind,
Yeah.
he could have died of heat exhaustion. He had no food, no water, no money.
Yeah, he had absolutely nothing on him.
Yeah, that's a pretty real possibility.
The problem that a lot of people have with this theory is that not only did the police search this entire area over and over, so did a private investigator that his mom hired. And they found nothing belonging to him or any sign that he had actually ever even been in the woods, which was weird. Some people believe he was a victim of human trafficking due to the fact that at the time was said in quite a few articles that Bulgaria had the highest rate of human trafficking in the European Union.
I mean,
during
it's
this
entirely
time period.
possible.
They say locals and tourists were being taken a lot at this time to be put into sex work, used for drug smuggling, or just straight up used as slaves.
Jeez.
It's also said Bulgaria is known for having don't know about today, don't come for me if you're from Bulgaria, but at that point in time, they said it had a very active underground organ market. That they were
Okay.
also taking tourists
And
to sell their organs.
So this is the wake up in a bathtub of ice type of thing.
Except don't wake up because they're going to take all
Everything.
of your organs. Not just
everything.
your kidney or your freaking
Yeah, like-
left lung. They're going to kill you and take every organ and sell it on the
your
black
eyes,
market.
Yeah, everything.
Jeez.
Which is a real possibility because people think like he was drugged, followed, lured, like he was freaking out because they're like fucking with him all night, you know.
Yeah.
And then they got him to run out into the middle of nowhere, snatched him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's also quite possible.
all of these are possible.
Now, some people believe that it was not just Lars that was involved in something fishy. They think that Lars and his friends had been forcibly made to be drug traffickers during this vacation.
And he's just the one who refused.
No, that he got left behind as an insurance policy and that his friends just ditched him there.
Oh, and didn't deliver the
boy.
product.
Yes, because they said that is another thing that would happen is they would force one person in a group to be left behind while the other one's left as an insurance policy that you're going to deliver what we say and do what we say and then we'll let your friend go.
I mean,
Again,
But
I haven't heard
there's
an
no-
option that's out of the realm of possibilities here.
The only reason why police do not believe this theory is because there was no drugs found on Lars's personal belongings. But why would he have the drugs? He wouldn't. His friends would.
Right.
If that
Right.
was the possibility.
Right. He's the insurance policy.
Exactly. Now, in 2019, a truck driver in Dresden, Germany, said he picked up a hitchhiker that he described as looking like an older version of Lars with a beard and looking kind of thin and raggedy. But he said it looked just like him. Now, when police went to investigate this, they found no guy matching this description. So, can't be confirmed. Sandra thinks he suffered a concussion from the fight, lost his memory, and is living out there somewhere and just has no idea who he is. Also a good possibility.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if I buy that one, because if he would have lost his memory, I don't think it would have
He wouldn't-
gradually gone away. He wouldn't have made his way back to the hotel. It would have been at the time of the injury, right?
And also he wouldn't have been able to call her or text her,
Right.
all of those
Or
things.
known that he was supposed to go to the airport.
I don't know
all this
how
kind of stuff.
concussions work. Like if they get worse over time, I would think not.
I would think not as well.
I have no clue. Never had one, so.
So if you're
thought you
listening and
did
you
when
know,
you-
Oh, wait.
email us.
I don't
think they
know.
gradually get worse over time.
I do know they cause memory loss.
Or they can.
Because that is my problem.
No, I do believe Sarah's theory is
She
entirely possible.
forgot she even had a concussion. That's
Yeah, I
how.
know. I forgot that one time that I fell and blacked out, and yeah, that happened.
Scary day.
That might explain some things for me as well.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Me either. Lars, at the time he went missing, was 5'11" and weighed 187 pounds, which, if you're in Europe, it's 85 kilograms. He had dark blonde hair and a scar on his left forearm. Like I said, his video is on YouTube, like the video of him running out of the airport, and it's like the last time he's confirmed being seen. And I'm just going to say, if you have any information, the places to contact are Bobby's going to put them in the show notes, because I don't do Europe phone numbers and emails.
Yeah,
But I
'cause
sent
like
they're
16
very
digits.
long.
But I sent them to Bobby.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like 16 digits long.
Yeah, they're crazy long numbers. I don't know how you remember all those.
They like have parentheses and plus signs, and it's just too much.
All right. Well, that'll be in the episode description. So, was there anything else?
Nope,
All
that's it.
If you enjoyed today's episode, let us know. Leave a comment, leave a review wherever you're listening. Share it with your friends, your family, coworkers, whoever. And if you know the answer to any of the questions that we posed today,
Yeah.
email us, speakingofmissingpersons@gmail.com, because we want to know. And also email us there if you have a case suggestion for a story that you want to hear on the show. Does anyone have any final thoughts about this one?
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, we will see y'all back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.